Fala, meu povo, tudo bem com vocês? E vamos falar desse jogo aí do Flamengo contra o Bayern de Munique na TV inglesa, onde trabalha o Cleberson. E vai falar sobre o que o Flamengo precisava fazer para derrotar o Bayern, já que o Bayern ganhou por 4-2. Mas o Flamengo jogou muita bola, hein? Jogou muito. Não vou falar que mereceu um resultado melhor, porque a gente assistiu o jogo, viu que o Bayern era um pouquinho melhor que o Flamengo. Mas o Flamengo pressionou bastante. Se liga aí no que tá falando a TV inglesa agora.
The club could do something special tonight against Bayern. It wasn't to be, but in the end, did Bayern deserve it really? Did their class just show?
Yeah, the Bayern is too much strong from Flamengo. No, I think Flamengo they try to get it back in the game with the goal to Gerson, also the penalty kick with Jorginho, but the Bayern dominate the game the most opportunity. No? I think the mistakes Flamengo given a game is fell the goal.
2-0, Rafa. You were feet up when we were watching in the other room. You got a little bit more tense as the evening went on, not as comfortable as you'd have liked, but did you see signs of progression, things that you liked from Bayern in the end?
Yeah, I think ultimately Bayern's good pressing won them the game, created chances and managed to keep Flamengo away from their goal most of the time. Even when you thought the comeback might be on in the second half, they didn't really create anything after taking the penalty, which was a bit indicative of the game. Every time Bayern were two goals up, they took their foot off the gas a little bit, then Flamengo came back in, then Bayern started playing again, and in the end their quality was just too much. But I think there's some good bits, but also some worrying signs that maybe the defence is still not 100% right, that they'll have to address for the PSG again, for sure.
It's something that you pointed out pre-match, wasn't it? It was a defence that hadn't played together before. Disappointing, of course, for Flamengo, but was it just what Rafa said there, that quality in the end shone through for the German side?
Yeah, I think they were too good, too strong. Of course, the Jorginho penalty got them back to 3-2, and then it's like, can they create anything? But they just didn't. They sort of huffed and puffed, but I think Bayern were comfortable. And then, of course, when you got Harry Kane at the other side of the pitch, you know, he's
not bad, is he?
He's not bad. That guy, he knows where the back of the net is. But his second goal, especially when we look at it in a bit, like he doesn't look up. The goal doesn't move. The keeper doesn't move. It's a brilliant finish, and 4-2. It's game over.
I tell you what, before we see those goals, shall we hear from him? Harry Kane scored goals 40 and 41 for the season this evening for Bayern Munich. He has been speaking to Anita Jones.
Harry, congratulations. One thing we can count on, you get given a half chance, you're going to take it. You got the brace today. You make it look so easy. How difficult was that touch of the second goal?
Yeah, I know. It was a nice ball by Josh. I weren't sure if he saw it, and he played a nice little disguised pass. And I talk a lot about the first touch. It sets up the goal, and I was able to go both ways. And I thought front post was the better option, and thankfully it worked off.
In terms of today, a word on the character that your team showed, because when it went to 3-2 through that penalty, they applied a lot of pressure, but you got the job done.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, we're playing against a really good side, you know, difficult conditions, really hot. And I thought we played well for large spells of the game, but every time we felt like we got away, they kind of clawed their way back and made it difficult, especially in the second half. So the fourth goal was an important goal for us, just to ease the nerves for the last 10 minutes or so. And then from there, we controlled it well.
How excited are you at the prospect of knocking out the Champions League winners PSG in just under a week in Atlanta?
It's going to be another tough game. You know, PSG have had an amazing season. We played them earlier in the year and we come out on top. So, you know, we have to, you know, try and use that energy, that feeling. And in this game, we know it'll be difficult. But look, we feel like we can beat anyone when we're at our level. We've shown that in the tournament so far. And yeah, it's going to be another tough game. We're going to have to recover well and get ready for it.
Huge European clash that we're all looking forward to. Thank you and congratulations, Harry.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, reminder in case you missed it, they're going to be facing PSG on Saturday. We'll preview that one very shortly, but let's reflect on just what happened and how this bumper game did unfold. And it took just 6 minutes for Bayern to take the lead, and it was an own goal. Flamengo kind of causing their own downfall here.
Yeah, it's unfortunately those games you cannot make those mistakes, no? And then unfortunately, Harry Kane in that situation, he just flicked the ball, and then you know, Bayern is a danger in the set piece, no? It's a great ball, and then after that, Flamengo start to give away the ball, and then already like
Disappointing evening for Pulgar, of course. He went off in the first half as well after injuring himself, challenging Harry Kane. And Rafa, you, as I said, had your feet up. You were quite excited after 9 minutes when Harry Kane made it 2-0.
Yeah, and what I love about this is Upamecano. Look how far away from his own goal. He's the centre back. He wins the ball, 40 metres into the opposition half, and then it's a wonderful finish that does get deflection that helps it on the way, but the confidence that Harry Kane has just to take a shot with his weaker foot from quite a distance, trusting his technique, that makes the goal. Because maybe if you are a different type of striker, you're on your weaker foot, you think, okay, where should I put the ball in, where are my other teammates? But he knows he can score also from that distance, and with a bit of help, great finish.
At that point, it could have all gone very wrong for Flamengo, but we've said it a lot. The Brazilian sides have shown such spirit, such character in this tournament, and they did pull a goal back before half-time.
They did, and it's a brilliant strike, isn't it, from Gerson, just to arrive into the box. You know, so like a rocket past Man United, people ask the question, what's Neuer doing? But it's actually a blink of an eye. It's past you. I've been in that position myself. You think, wow, can I get my hands up? You just can't. Kelly is so quick. It's so fast. You can see Neuer's reaction. It's just nothing much you can do. It's just the pure power from Gerson. It's a fantastic strike. You see in the half volley, and really it's a blur past Man United. And you think it's a lifeline for them then?
It's not like you stick up for a goalkeeper, Shay.
Well, yeah, they don't. Why not?
At that point, it looked like it was going to be an interesting second half, but then Flamengo conceded at pretty much the worst possible time, just before the half-time whistle went.
Yeah, when Flamengo starts to think back in the game, like to have a little bit more the ball, and then Bayern they get it close. But one thing, like no one step on the ball. I think it's Eric Pulgar again doesn't step on the ball and then leave it the guy from Bayern just choice which side he's shooting the goal, and of course try to go to the other side, ball go another way. It's a brilliant goal. They scored in a perfect moment.
Yeah, it was the perfect moment, wasn't it, Rafa? This will have really changed the team talk for both managers.
Yeah, and Bayern was struggling a little bit in that spell. That was probably the best we saw from the Brazilians just before half-time. They created chances. Bayern looked a little bit unsure. You could see sometimes the gaps between midfield and defence were beginning to open up. But that game again cooled down things, and of course, I think what we might hear from Kompany saying, look, don't stop playing. You know, whenever we stop playing, we let them back in. Then that's when we put ourselves under pressure. If we just keep the intensity high, keep pressing, and then use our possession game to cool down the temperature of the game and to keep them more quiet, that's when we get on top. And whenever Bayern just faded a little bit, they were there. But in the end, Bayern didn't fade enough and were able to assert themselves every time at the right moment, just about to see this through.
Well, the first goal of the second half was always going to be important, and Cleberson, it went to Flamengo from the penalty spot.
Yeah, it's Flamengo go back in the second half. I think a little bit better in terms like to get away the pressure. Not start like so good, but they have a chance on a penalty here now. I think that's one like his jump, his turn, his face, and then the referee give it a penalty
arguments
kick.
really,
yeah,
can he?
Yeah. And then Jorginho's like a expert on a penalty kick. He just like compose and finish it.
Yeah, in terms of if you get a penalty, there aren't too many players you'd rather have on your team
No, he's
than
very
Kompany,
calm.
are there?
He's very cool, and you're up against one of the best goalkeepers in world football, Emmanuel Neuer. He's a huge presence in the goal, but Jorginho didn't blink. He thought, I've got this. You know, big Flamengo crowd behind the goal as well. They were buzzing. 3-2, you think we got game on. Rafa was jumped off the sofa. He was getting a bit nervous at this point. But again, they sort of huffed and puffed after that. Didn't create too many clear-cut chances, but fantastic penalty from Jorginho.
And then the goal that really sealed it for Bayern was brilliant, wasn't it?
Absolutely amazing. I mean, you pay a lot of money for a centre forward to score that kind of goal. You're a little bit under pressure. It's a game that doesn't allow you too many mistakes, and he just, not having had the most sort of impactful of games, is just there when it's necessary. The first touch to get it out of his feet is wonderful. He never looks up. He bends it into the corner without, this is all one fluid motion. From not being involved, not having too many touches, but having the kind of precision killer touch that you need from a centre forward. It's what you want.
I think Vincent Kompany would be happy as well, similar to Kane's first goal. The press from Bayern Munich as well. They want that creates the chance as the rest, but again they latch on to Flamengo trying to play out, and they're all over them. Brilliant press from Bayern Munich, and as we said there, the goal doesn't move. Kane knows exactly where it is, and it's a brilliant finish.
And that's why they paid big money for him, because that is literally what he does, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a goal machine, isn't he? He really is. I mean, we said before the game, I'd like to see him higher up the pitch, and that's where he was, high up the pitch. He did drop deeper at times as well, but again, look at the press you mentioned before, Rafa. Fantastic press from Bayern Munich, and then the higher up he won the ball back, the closer due to the opposition goal. I mean, it's stating the obvious, but at the same time, I think Vincent Kompany will be really happy with how they press Flamengo today as well.
85 goals in 95 games for Bayern Munich. What a player. We knew he was a brilliant player, but the way he's made that move look so seamless and the way he's just carried on doing what he always does, score goals, in a different league is impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the way the Bayern playing, it's amazing, you know.
Does it suit him, do you feel?
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like because they're a good team, no? They're a really good team.
Strikers
Just
tackle.
tackle when they get tired, you know. And then, that goal for Keane is it's a massive. No? Look at the quality he has finishing there. It's a brilliant player.
Rafa, just how much do the Bayern Munich fans appreciate Harry Kane and what he's done? Because that record I just spoke of is pretty special.
A lot, of course. They admire him, they respect him, and I think it's beyond the Bayern Munich fans. He is somebody who has an impact in German football. I think German football as a whole is happy to have a true world-class striker like him. It reflects well on the league. It shows that the Bundesliga can attract this kind of talent, and everything he does, the way he carries himself on and off the pitch, I think has won him a lot of admiration, even from the non-Bayern fans, grudgingly so, but you can feel it that people respect him and appreciate for what he does.
32 years old now. Is he in his prime? Is this peak Harry Kane?
Well, he had a bit of stick, I think, after the Euros last summer because he looked a bit stiff, maybe looked a bit unfit.
He was carrying an injury.
He was carrying an injury, and I
wasn't he?
don't think that helped him at all. Because even England fans going, he shouldn't be starting and stuff. But again, he's shown again this year for Bayern, of course, winning the Bundesliga, and in this tournament as well. He looks back to his best again. He looks super fit again, and you know, you can't be carrying an injury going into a major tournament. That's probably the only downside he had when he was at Bayern. But again, he's an English captain and playing for Bayern Munich, a German club. There's all the politics involved as well. But if the fans in Germany have took him on board, it shows how good a job he's doing on the pitch as much as off the pitch.
Rafa, is he almost the difference for Bayern in these big games against the top teams, having a Harry Kane?
They need him to be the difference. They need him to score these kind of goals. In the Champions League, they came close, but defensively they made too many mistakes. You can't always score 4 goals. You need sometimes to be a little bit tight at the back. The downside to all this high pressing in the high line is that once you get past it, then there's a lot of space to exploit, and that's where Bayern have struggled. The problem is not scoring goals. If it's not Harry Kane, there's Elise, there's Jamal Musiala when he's fully fit. Gnabry's pitched in with goals. Sané had a okay season. It's what happens at the other side that's been the concern. But Harry Kane is, of course, meant to not just score the simple goals, in inverted commas, in the Bundesliga on the way to another title. He needs to score those big goals in the knockout games. And he got a bit of stick last year when people felt he wasn't quite there when it really mattered for Bayern. I think unfairly so, because he scored a lot of goals in knockouts as well. But this year that was not the problem. He was there, he did his job. Bayern's downfall was elsewhere.
Has he almost grown into the season, would you say? Has he got better as the season went on?
I think he's been brilliant throughout the season. Remember, when he wanted to move to Bayern, it wasn't necessarily for the titles. Of course, he wanted to win a title, and going to Bayern gives you almost a guarantee that you're going to win something. But his main motivation was playing with better players and playing in a team that brings out more out of him. This was a player that had to toil under Mourinho and Conte really, really hard, often very isolated, still scoring amazing goals. But look at him now. It's much more enjoyable when you have players around you, when you have wide players who are going to help you, when you have players behind you, when you have also so much possession. You'll get chances and you improve as a player. And I think he is improving still as a player. People perhaps don't see it as much because they don't see it every week the way we do in Germany. But I think he's slowly but surely still adding more layers to his game.
Could be potentially very exciting for England fans as well. As you saw then, by the way, plenty of online chats about Harry Kane. And I imagine there's plenty of online chat about Bayern Munich and their manager as well, Vincent Kompany. He's also been speaking with Anita Jones.
Vincent, just how impressed are you with your side's performance today, given the conditions? Very hot and sweaty here, you just said, and it was almost a packed house of Flamengo fans.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like there was double the amount even, you know, because the atmosphere was so special, so electric. But I think the main thing is I looked in the first 20 minutes and we were playing well, but the intensity of the game was ferocious. So you're sort of thinking, okay, in this heat against this opponent, is this going to carry on? And to be fair, we grew into the game, and I think it was a good game for the fans, but we're really happy to go to the next round.
A a word on one of your players, Leroy Sané, who came off the bench today. You, of course, shared a dressing room with him at Manchester City. We know today was his last game as a Bayern Munich player. 4 Bundesliga titles over the 5 years, one with you. How much will he be missed and what has he given to this team?
Yeah, nothing but respect, you know. It's always a little bit special when you share the dressing room with someone. I think obviously we won many things together at Man City and we kept on winning here, so my relationship with him will always remain really, really good, and I wish him well. Look, that was the deal. It's the first time that this World Cup is getting played, so we're having to deal with some unknown situations like this one, but you know, we knew that this could happen, and we're still grateful for the fact that he was 100% committed to our cause.
I know you want to rest and recruit, but I've got to ask you about the quarterfinals because it's a tasty European clash. You're facing the Champions League winners in PSG. You had a game plan that worked against them in November. They look different though now. How's it going to be?
Yeah, but I would hope that we all progress, right? I think that's the job of a coach. That's the job of a team, a professional football player. So, look, we'll see what it needs to be for that game, but the main thing is we have to rest now, recover from this game, use every single day we've got to rebuild our energy, and then what more do you want? Top sides playing each other on the biggest stage, so we'll be ready for that.
Thank you, congratulations for today.
Yeah, Vincent Kompany describing it as a special atmosphere. He also described it as ferocious. That's quite a good way of summing the game up, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was very difficult. I don't think we can quite appreciate just how tough it is to play such an intensive game with pressing and with the kind of movement that Bayern are putting onto the pitch according to the instructions of Kompany. I think at times it looked as if they tried to maybe control their own pace a little bit, but maybe that was just the conditions taking their toll, and from where we were sitting, it's easy to say, you know what, go a bit more. Whereas the pressing, they took a few minutes, I think, at times to recover on the ball and to recover a bit of energy. But that's going to be the key thing. I mean, Bayern can only really play that way. That's the Kompany way. If they play it well, they're very, very hard to play against. If it's just a little bit off, it's such a high-risk game, then problems can arise, and if there's one team that can exploit that, it might, well, it can be PSG.
That's quite painful for you to say, isn't it? Julian Ron, who features on our highlight show on the DAZN app, The Press, is a good friend of yours and a big PSG fan.
Not anymore.
No? Enemies for the next few days, huh? Also, it's making me laugh because we're talking about the heat. It's actually quite cold in this aircon studio, but I feel like we shouldn't say that considering the heat that the players are playing. And where do you assess where Bayern are heading in to that quarter-final clash against the Champions League winners?
Well, I think Rafa makes a great point there with regards to press, because they all high up pressed all in. You see Uber McKenna numerous occasions, you know, 40 yards inside the opposition half, pressing high. And PSG have got the quality players. It's just half a yard off or a yard off here and a yard off. If everyone's not doing the press properly, they can play around and play out. And then you can see how stretched Bayern are at the back. You know, you mentioned before the back four. First time they played together tonight for the very first time. Second time might be against PSG. And they will get to test the Flamengo, a decent team, but they're not PSG. The PSG that Bayern beat them earlier in the season, they're a different PSG to that as well. They've improved so much over the course of the season, this tournament as well. They've really taken to this as well. They won back the Champions League winners trophy up with winning this as well. For me, it's a huge game. It's a great game to look forward to. It really is. If Bayern get everything right, they can do it. But again, for me, PSG are the favourites for the whole tournament. So I'll probably just edge towards Julian Ron here, even though he's giving me one of them looks, you know what I mean? But it should be a great game.
The whole game. How can you analyze this game? Analyze that in big games like that, details make the difference. Don't think they create much more than us. Apart from the last few minutes that we are just like forward, and we didn't have a balance. But for the biggest part of the game, I think it was a very equal game. And at the end, they came out creating from few mistakes of us, and they had like little opportunities in counter press that made the difference at this stage, at this level of the game. And just look at the whole tournament. What can Flamengo take away from the tournament to use and build from to the next few games in Brazil? The confidence and the potential that the team has. We need to believe even more on our team, on our group, and the potential that we have to go so far. Because we've showed today again that we can compete with any team, that we are a strong side, that we need to believe, that we need to keep working really hard and keep pushing, because this group is amazing and we can go really far, I believe.
Então vocês viram aí, né, pessoal, a galera da Inglaterra falando sobre esse jogo. O pessoal tenta desmerecer um pouquinho. O Flamengo foi um teste, porque o PSG... Gente, desculpa, mano, quem assistiu o jogo viu que o Flamengo jogou muito bem, pressionou muito o Bayern, só que o Bayern era muito mais incisivo, mano. Todas as jogadas de ataque, praticamente, era uma chance muito clara. O Flamengo teve muitos erros defensivos e também lá na frente... teve alguns erros lá, mas o Flamengo ainda conseguiu fazer um bom jogo, cara. Jogou muito bem. E o Bayern, gente, desculpa, mano, é uma seleção também. Agora, quem viu o Flamengo jogar hoje sabe muito bem que o Flamengo é um dos grandes candidatos para ganhar a Libertadores aí desse ano. Time muito bom, tem bons reservas. Você vê que sai Arrascaeta, entra Bruno Henrique, os caras continuam jogando muito. Então, às vezes, o europeu gosta de desmerecer, às vezes o brasileiro gosta de desmerecer. Mas o Flamengo jogou muita bola, o torcedor flamenguista tem que estar orgulhoso da sua equipe, mostrar um grande futebol aí. E se não foi a melhor equipe aí no Mundial, uma das melhores entre os brasileiros no Mundial, com certeza, tá bom? Galera, peço para você se inscrever no nosso canal, deixar o like, peço também que você compartilhe esse vídeo com seus amigos. Muito obrigado por tudo, fica com Deus, valeu!